That's better. I gotta get my fade in a little bit right. Look who's here. Hey little fuzz butt. It's been a while, huh? Yeah, it's been a while since he's been in the Voodoo Garden. By the way, welcome back everybody. Welcome to the Voodoo Garden. My name is Ray. I am the host and this is Rascal. This is my co-host of this wonderland, this really ridiculous celebrated nonsense we like to call the Voodoo Garden. Well, you can go hunt crickets. That's what he's doing. He's hunting crickets today. This is the end of the season outside. It's never the end of the season here, but it's the end of the season outside and it's starting to get cold. Well, when it gets cold, crickets like to come in. And I like to think that my house is kind of weather tight, but for some reason, crickets show up. And they show up in abundance. This house is swarming with crickets. We put out sticky traps. Now, by the way, sticky traps I never recommend for mice, but I have mouse traps set out so they actually catch the mice. The sticky traps, they're set in areas where the mice normally don't go. So please don't think I'm actually torturing mice or anything like that. I'm catching the crickets and I take the sticky traps and I take them outside. I know this is gross. And I feed them, I take them and I feed them to the turkeys because, you know, the turkeys and the chickens because they actually like that. So that's how Ray works in the Voodoo Garden. I have no idea why I just mentioned that, but I did. Hey, by the way, I was going to mention what I was going to do with this pumpkin. And I will be mentioning that a little bit later, but for right now, I seem to have the wrong glasses on. They got, oh, there they are. I knew I had other glasses. I have glasses for every occasion. These are my reading glasses. The other ones are I need to see you and have you not be fuzzy glasses. Last week I asked you to post your questions about indoor gardening in the comment section. And you really did. You did. Oh boy, did you. Now what I'd like to do today, and this won't take as long as you might think. Some people are thinking, oh no, not again, he's going to read questions. Well, actually some people do enjoy it, and it is my way of helping you with your indoor gardening because it can be fun as long as you get the proper information. I try to give you the best information I possibly can. Now, some people have some questions about indoor gardening. I'm going to give you quick, off-the-cuff answers because I just copied and pasted these and I don't rehearse any of this because I'd like to give you my gut answer, and if I rehearse it, it's not really something that I would know. It's something I had to research. So I want to see if I can actually answer these things off the top of my head. Now, keep in mind, when I give you answers, that's my answer. It's not the actual stated answer that's encased in stone. It's not, sometimes it's not even the right answer, but it's the answer that works for me in my gardening, so I'm hoping it'll work for you. Okay? With that understood, I'm going to get to this. Rascal, I'm going to give it a blessing. Sniff my questions. Yeah, it's pretty good, huh? Yeah, it is. I'll get back to you later. We got to get outside and we got to pick some stuff today, but for right now we're down here enjoying the cool weather. I got the fan on, I got the window open. It's a beautiful day in the Voodoo Garden. Okay, first question comes from Martin. Hi Martin. I'm curious what you use for ventilation in your Voodoo Garden. Okay, there's actually this is about a three-part question, so I'm going to start with the first part. What do I use for ventilation? Absolutely nothing. I don't think it needs ventilation. I have the fan on right now only because if I sit here underneath these hot lights, I sweat. And when I sweat, I get miserable. When I get miserable, I kind of screw up on everything. So I normally have the door closed. There are no windows in this room, and I have no fan. What that does is it locks in the humidity. That's how these plants grow so successfully. Some people try to grow plants like the tropical ones, and they have issues with them. And that can usually be because they don't have the proper humidity. When you have an enclosed room and you keep it closed up, you get the proper humidity. Now, some people think that if you put a fan in there and you keep the air moving, it keeps fungus from growing. Well, I've tried that and it didn't work for me because, for one reason, if you have an enclosed room, and that's what I have, you have humidity in there. That is a prime breeding ground for fungus. All right. Second, if you have fungus that's going to grow, it has to come from somewhere. It's from a fungus spore. Now, if you have humidity and fungus spores in your room, it doesn't matter what kind of fan you got going. You could have a hurricane going and that fungus is still going to grow. So the fan really doesn't help. it doesn't help anything as far as I know. Some people say put a fan on your plants, it encourages them to grow strong. Well, I think proper care encourages them to grow strong. A fan really isn't necessary. I haven't noticed a difference when I did have a fan to where I don't have a fan in the strength of my plants. Some people have other experiences, so go with what you feel. Now, that answers the first part. There is no need for ventilation. The lights keep it warm, the door shut keeps it humid enough in here. Next, how do you handle the temperature and humidity? Well, that comes from closing the door. There is no heat source, there is no cooling source in this room. There are no ducts. I have ductwork going all over my house for air conditioning and heating. This room is unique that it does not have any ductwork at all in it, and it came that way. In the winter, well, actually, in all seasons, I have the lights that come on when I wake up in the morning, and I turn them off at night, in the evening. So it's a 12-hour cycle. I usually get up at around 4 o'clock in the morning. I know that's very early, but that's what I do. I like to watch the sun come up. So I get up at 4 o'clock in the morning, I turn on the lights. At 4 p.m., I turn off the lights, 12-12. And I don't change it to different stages for flowering, fruiting. I've never really noticed a big difference in the hours. So 12 on, 12 off. Now, as far as how I keep it hot, these are compact fluorescent lights. They generate not as much heat, and I don't know why I'm doing this, I feel Italian, but they don't generate as much heat as an incandescent light, but they put out more light per watt than an incandescent light, and they also don't produce as much heat, but they do produce heat. That what little amount of heat that they produce keeps this room warm. In the summertime, this room gets to be around 85 to 90 degrees, all on its own. The rest of the basement remains at around 70 degrees. So it does heat it up. Now, that the door is closed, when I turn off the lights at night, the heat level goes down very slowly, so it kind of stays warmer than normal. And that simulates the tropical environment that a lot of these plants require to grow. Now, as far as humidity, like I said, I keep the doors closed, keeps the humidity going. The moisture that evaporates off of the soil and out of the leaves, that produces the humidity that they need. The more plants you have, the more humidity you're going to have in your room. Okay, next, what are your light versus dark hours? Whoops, already got to that. And lastly, have you tried or ever considered using LED grow lights? I've tried using LED, and I really don't have much luck with it, only because of one reason. The only reason is LED has not really caught up, in my opinion, to compact fluorescents. Compact fluorescents were the newest thing a couple decades ago. Well, they're no longer the newest thing. They have mercury in them, and it's really bad for the environment. And there's a benefit and a minus to the compact fluorescents, same as incandescent. Well, the benefit to compact fluorescents is they're inexpensive. They put out a good amount of light for what you pay for the bulb and for the electricity. Now, the downside is, like I said, they're bad for the environment, but I have to balance that against my needs. Now, LED is a good alternative, and I believe LED is the future of lighting. I do believe that. Now, that being said, LED is not as inexpensive as compact fluorescent. LED is more expensive for now. Now, as the technology gets going and more companies start switching over to LED and compact fluorescents get phased out, more people will start using LED, which will make LED more of a mainstream product. The price will come down with the competition. Now, if you buy an LED bulb that's going to put out the same amount of light as all of these compact fluorescents, it's going to cost way more to purchase. And I'm not ready to pay that kind of money yet. I don't have that kind of money for my little project here in the Voodoo Garden. Eventually, I will. And when I do, I'm going to mention it, I'm going to demonstrate it, and I'm going to show you the type of bulbs that I use. But for right now, no. Okay, the next one. You're just looking at me, aren't you? The next one is from Spiojo Go. Sorry, I just totally face planted on that name. Spiogo asks, I planted a small tomato plant and a small pepper plant in one large pot. Okay, well, there's a mistake right there. I later found that both flowered and produced large amounts of fruit. Wow. Okay, well, congratulations. I didn't think it would actually work. And they looked healthy all year despite the other plants I have doing less well. Do pepper plants and tomatoes have complementary needs that I may have missed, or do you have an alternate explanation for how this happened? I don't have an alternate explanation. I have an explanation for how this happened. If you planted them in a large pot and you had rich soil and good light, yes, they did well. But if they had their own pot, I'm assuming you're talking like large like this, not large like a swimming pool. An average large pot. A tomato will do better on its own because it has an extensive root system. Same thing with a pepper. If it's grown right, planted deep, it's going to have an extensive root system. If you plant a tomato in one pot, a pepper in another pot, and then you set those aside as a control, and then you experiment with a pepper and a tomato in one large pot, you're going to more than likely notice that the separate potted plants are going to do a lot better than the plants that are potted together. You had good luck, and I think that's great, and they have absolutely no complementary anything. They are competitive. And so if you plant them together, they're going to compete for resources, and usually the tomato wins because they're just crazy. Okay, that's my explanation for that. But anyway, congratulations on your success. Seahorse56 asks, Ray, do you have any home improvement projects planned for the winter? Yes. Oh, yes I do. As the season goes on, I try to keep myself busy with projects. Now, my projects are not continuously ongoing because I'm just a poor garden hobbit. I don't have unlimited funds. So what I do is I make a little bit of money from YouTube for the Voodoo Garden channel and the Praxis channel. And when I say a little, I don't mean a lot. I mean a little, okay? Not just figuratively. I mean literally a little. I make a little bit of money. What that does is it pays for the electricity, pays for the plants, the potting soil, the machinery, the camera, the microphones that Lewis keeps eating. Pays for all of those things. What little I have left over, and by the way, I do get money from Patreon. Patreon is a place where people contribute a little bit of money each month to help me do the things that I need to do to keep the farm rolling. And by the way, I wanted to send out a thank you for all that because it really is a lifesaver. People do not realize how much I rely on their assistance, and I really do appreciate their help. Now, coming up this winter, I plan on doing a little bit more to help myself out because I don't want just handouts. I do appreciate people helping me, but I'd like to actually do a lot of things for myself. So even though I do appreciate my folks on Patreon, and I hope that you stick around, I'm going to be doing a couple things to raise some money to expand my projects here on the farm. One of the things that I have planned is when I purchased this house, there is a porch on the front of the house, and it was kind of crumbling. I didn't know why. Well, as I've lived here, it's crumbled more and more until this year it got to be a disaster, and it started actually collapsing. So I had to remove my front porch. I no longer have, you've seen the practice videos where I'm sitting on the stone stairs. Well, those are no longer in existence. They fell apart and we had to tear them down. So now I'm forced to not use that door. I have to use an alternate door to come in and out. It's very inconvenient, and I want to build that porch up. Problem is, got to save up money for that. Also, the carpeting in this house, when the people who lived here before, they had cats and they had a dog. Now, the reason I know this is I've had cats and I've had dogs. I know the difference in smell when they urinate on the floor. Somehow, these cats and dogs decided that this house was their own private porta potty. And also play toy. The dog chewed up a lot of wood around the house, and I have to replace that because it looks like crap. The cats and dogs peed everywhere. So as much as I shampooed the carpet and I try to maintain it, if you leave it alone for a while, it starts smelling like urine. And I don't like my house to smell like urine because it's just not my favorite smell. So I've been putting aside a few dollars, and hopefully, if everything goes right this winter or next spring, I'll be able to put in carpet that does not smell like the inside of an animal's bladder. So yeah, that's my project. But for this winter, I want to straighten out the basement because I store so much stuff in there, and it's such a small house. I want to make sure that my basement is straightened out. Right now I'm doing projects. For one, I'm drying compost in my basement, so it takes up some space, and I'm processing the compost in my basement, so I can't actually do it right now. I have a lot of projects. This house is never going to be done. It is a work in process all the time, all of the time. Same thing with outside. There are an unlimited amount of projects that I need to do. So I'm always saving money, trying to get things done. And it's kind of like if you're parents and you have kids, you never do have money. The kids always need something. So it's either my porch falling apart, my floor smells like urine, my dogs need medical care. There's always something, like the goats, the chickens, you name it. There's always something coming up. So I just keep my fingers crossed and I dance as fast as I can. Okay. Anyway, next one, Harvey. Harvey asks, have you or would you ever try growing plants without dirt? You can grow wheatgrass with just water and liquid fertilizer, so why not try it with other plants? Well, Harvey, I've been asked this before, and it's hydroponics, aquaponics. There's different kinds of water growing. Now, all of those different types of growing don't interest me. They are fascinating for other gardeners, and I applaud them for trying to grow outside the box. I am a soil gardener. We all have our niche. We all have our preferences. I like to touch soil. I like to be in contact with soil. I like the way it feels. I like the way it smells. It smells like perfume to me. And it's an addiction. I love dirty hands. I love being in connection with the earth. Now, I want to explain that, but I don't want to explain it here in the video. I'm writing a book. And yes, I'm shamelessly plugging myself, because if I don't, who will? I am writing a book. And in there is a chapter that explains why I am such a nut when it comes to soil. Because I'm going to give you a hint. It saved my life. And I know that sounds corny, but it literally did save my life. And I want to explain that further, but I don't want to go into it right now. So my addiction, my passion is soil. And water just doesn't cut it for me. So I don't like growing in water. I've tried it before a little bit, and it just was nothing. It was nothing for me. I don't experiment anymore in it. I don't go with it. I enjoy watching people's videos that do it, but no, I'll never do that. That's why you don't see that here in the Voodoo Garden. All right, next one, Alexander. Oh, here it is. Hey, come on over here and give me my rascal fix. Let me pet your brain. Yeah, it feels good. That's some good brain. Yeah, I know, you want to go out. All right, Alexander asks, in what episode did you eat the jalapeno? I don't know. I'll tell you what, Alexander, I'm going to sift through the videos, and I don't remember the name of it because I do so many programs I forget. I'm going to take that video and I'm going to post the link underneath here. Okay, look in the video description where it says show more. Click on that, and down at the very bottom of all of that wording, I'm going to put the link just for you and for anybody else. I think the reason Alexander's asking is because people talk about the time that I ate a jalapeno. I thought it was supposed to be a mild jalapeno. Turns out it wasn't. And it was hotter than any jalapeno I've ever eaten. I've eaten jalapenos. I can eat a jalapeno. Not a problem at all. I put this thing in my mouth and I wished I were dead. It's awful. And I couldn't spit it out. I mean, where are you going to spit it out? I'm not going to spit it on my plants. So I ate the darn thing and I almost died. So if you want to see Ray in pain, go for it. But please wait till this video is over, and then you can watch my torture in the video below. Next one, Maniac Gardener. I like that name. Maniac Gardener says, Ray, why do you have crickets in the Voodoo Garden? It sounds like it. Well, the reason it sounds like it is because there are. I mentioned that the crickets come in here, and one lady actually posted a comment. She goes, those are irritating. I'm like, well, to you, but not to me. I mean, your crying children may be irritating to me, but it's music to your ears more than likely because you love them. Crickets, for me, they bring back memories of the forest, of the spring and night times, and when I was a kid. Not in the forest, but when I was a kid outside, Mom would let us stay out when it was nighttime, and we would catch cicadas that when they were crawling up the trees to get out of their shell, and we would hear the crickets at night. And we try to hunt the crickets. Me and other kids, my friends, would try to hunt them by sound. And that was my joy. I like crickets. They make me happy for some reason. They're little cricky sounds. I have them upstairs, downstairs, in my bedroom, in the kitchen, everywhere. They don't bother me, and Rascal likes to chase them. So they're actually a joy for me, and I don't bring them inside purposely, but they're here, and they don't damage my plants, so I have no problem with them. Anyway, next one, Healthy. Healthy asks, have you ever had your pothos flower? No. And this is the pothos that I have growing in here, and by the way, when I clipped it off and I put that clipping in there, this one now has 2 new growing tips, so it's doing really well. And I've been growing pothos for decades, many years, a million years, and I've never ever had one flower. So what I wanted to do, when I heard this question, is I wanted to look it up on, I don't know why I'm pointing over there. I just had this pointy thing going on this morning, but I'm going to look it up online and see what a pothos flower looks like, because to be honest with you, I don't know. I don't even know what one would look like. I know that I'd know it if I saw it, but I've never had one flower. I'll bet they do outside, but inside probably not. Next one, Puggy Man Films. I like that. And the reason I like that name, Puggy Man Films, is because there's this commercial with this ridiculous nightmare-looking dog called Puggy Monkey Baby. And I keep saying that over and over. It got stuck in my head like an earworm. And I'm outside and I'm doing my gardening on Puggy Monkey Baby. Puggy Monkey Baby. And it's really disturbing if you ever look it up. Go online after this is over. If you want to see something really creepy, go to Google and type Puggy Monkey Baby and look at the video of it. He just kind of walks along really creepy and everything. Anyway, Puggy Man Films. Will Tanner ever walk normally again? No, Puggy Man. Tanner will never walk normal again. And you know, Tanner walks to the beat of a different drummer. And I like that. I like originality, and I like that he is his own dog, and he has a disability. And for those of you who don't know, the one or two on this planet that don't know by now, Tanner is one of the dogs I adopted this last year. And that's why people are helping me on Patreon, because they saw that I reached out for help from my friends, and they stepped up. And they're helping me take care of these animals and take care of a few things on the farm. Tanner is a special dog. He was born, I thought he was abused, and I don't know if he was abused, but I know that the situation with his hip is not from abuse. The vet looked at it, x-rayed him, and showed me the x-ray. He has no hip joint. No hip joint whatsoever. And also this bone right here, whatever this one's called, it's curved like the letter C. It grew that way since he was a baby. Now the vet said there is no need because he walks perfectly fine. He's in no pain whatsoever. But if you were so inclined, you could actually have from here to here replaced, have a hip rebuilt. It's an incredibly expensive, and I don't even want to go into the amount because it's beyond your wildest imagination. And it would cause him so much pain from the rehabilitation. He's a 10-year-old dog. He's an elderly dog. And he's been getting along all these years without it. And when he wants to, he can fly like the night. And I don't even know what that means. Fly like the he flies like the wind. Not like the night. He walks like the night. But he flies like the wind when he goes out with Rascal on 3 legs. So that little leg just kind of flops back and forth. And he's perfectly fine the way that he is. And he's my special dog. So no, he'll never walk normal again. But you know what? Normal is a bit overrated. Next one, Lester. Don't worry, I only got a few left. Lester asks, I have a pothos plant, and oh, another pothos one, and I repotted it into a bigger planter, and it stopped growing, and now the leaves from the middle are falling off, and the other day I looked and the roots are disappearing. Okay, first of all, Lester, if you're looking at the roots, you may want to stop doing that. Don't bring your plants out to look at roots, unless, of course, you meant when you were transplanting it. Now, plants, when they're being transplanted, if they're root bound, sometimes their roots will not grow out of that root ball. And sometimes plants take a while to grow out of the root ball. All plants are different. They all have their own personalities, their own little weird quirks. So sometimes it just takes a long time. Sometimes they're not going to do it at all. Now, as far as the leaves dying, I've had that happen as well. Sometimes when plants get stressed, they drop leaves. They don't really care where. And normally it's from the base or from the middle, because the top ones are the growing tips. And the plants want to focus more on the growing tips, and sometimes they'll drop lower leaves. Like this one here will drop lower leaves. These ones drop lower leaves. That's just how it works. Now, if your plant is looking just butt ugly and you just can't look at it anymore, what you can do is take the top part that's growing, snip it off, and root it into soil. You can root it in water, and then when it grows roots, put it in soil in the same pot as the plant that's there, and you can actually get a bigger, thicker plant. And if you cut the stems back down short to where the leaves stopped growing, it'll put out a new growing tip, and you get rid of all that ugly nastiness. This is one way to revitalize your plant. Cut it back to where it stopped, where it started losing leaves. Cut that off. Take the growing tip, root it, put it in there, around there, and you'll have a fuller, thicker plant. Okay. Next one, I don't know. It's ESE. How would you even pronounce that? S asks, are there any advantages to using vermiculite over perlite in soil amendments? I've been asked that question before, and I'm going to give everybody the definitive answer on this, okay? This won't take long at all. I'm going to abbreviate this for all of you. Perlite and vermiculite are rock. They come from the earth. They are volcanic rock. That's all they are. is rock from the ground. And we mine this rock, for instance, vermiculite. It looks like little pieces of cork, and it feels like cork. That is mica. And it is mined from the earth, broken up, superheated by man, and it puffs up like popcorn. And into these big long sponges, and it's broken up, and it's used for gardening. And it's also used for insulation. It used to be used for insulation. Now, there's an old myth. Actually, it's not a myth, it's a story that vermiculite contains asbestos. Well, vermiculite used to contain asbestos up until I believe it was the 80s, and it came from a particular mine over in Utah or Colorado called the Libby Mine. All right, that was known for having asbestos in there. Gosh knows how or why it was in there, but it was. And I don't believe that mine's still functioning, but the vermiculite that we get nowadays is perfectly safe. No asbestos. Go ahead and use it. Don't eat it, but use it in your gardening. It's perfectly safe to use. Now, there's vermiculite. Perlite is basically the same thing. It's a twin. It is volcanic rock. It is rock that is brought out and it is puffed up. Okay, but it is a hard kernel with air pockets inside. Okay. And what that does is when you mix it in with your soil, the air pockets bring oxygen into the soil. They also hold water for your plants. Now, vermiculite does that, and that's all it does. It adds nothing or subtracts nothing from the soil. It doesn't change the pH value of the soil. Now, vermiculite, that was perlite. Vermiculite does not change the structure of the soil with pH, okay? It doesn't do any of that. Now, here's the benefit of vermiculite. It adds potassium and magnesium to your soil. And it also holds moisture a little bit better than perlite. So, that's why perlite is usually used in cactus mixes, because it allows water to drain better. Whereas vermiculite is used more in tropical potting soils to hold moisture a little bit more. It doesn't hold too much. It does allow some to drain. It acts as a medium, an equalizer. And I prefer vermiculite because first of all, it's less expensive where I get it than the perlite, and I just like the texture better. I just always liked vermiculite. Now, I hope that answers your question on vermiculite versus perlite. Let's see, next one. Okay, only two more. Next one is from Amy. Hi, Amy. What is your favorite plant in the Voodoo garden? Oh, you had to ask that. I feel so bad now. I have to choose between all of my plants. And but to be honest with you, I don't really have any specific favorites because they all are different. You notice all of these plants are totally different, and I have each one of them for a specific thing. My coleus, my banana tree, my papaya, arrowhead, philodendron, thing I don't know what it is. All of these different plants serve a different purpose because they all have different textures and growing patterns, the variety. So I like them for what they are. But I guess if I had to pick a favorite, and it changes, but for right now, if I had to pick a favorite, it would be my papaya and my banana. And I can't pick between the two because they're both beautiful, and I like them both the same. And these are my favorite for now, and I'll tell you why. Because I've never traveled to exotic places. When I was younger, I traveled to different places in the United States, like California, Oregon, Washington, New Mexico, Nebraska, Kansas, all these regular states. But I've never been to exotic places, what I consider exotic. You know, like to South Florida. Well, I did go to South Florida. I went to Disney World, but that's not really exotic. But you know, like deep sea fishing, to Hawaii, to different countries or anything like that. No, I've never done that. And well, I'm not rich, and so sometimes I think that I would like to do that. Now I'm thinking that I'll probably do that when I get old and I retire, and that would be fun. You know, I'd like to do that, do a little bit of traveling, and hopefully I'll have the money by then. But for right now, I can fulfill my need for going to exotic places, and this sounds really weird, but this is how I feel about the Voodoo Garden. I don't go to exotic places, but I bring them to me in the way of exotic plants from all over the world. I mean, you don't see papayas and bananas growing wild here in Iowa. And when I sit here, actually before I started the camera, it just felt like I was underneath a palm tree. You know, maybe someday I'll be sitting on a beach underneath a palm tree, sipping a non-alcoholic fruity drink, but today's not that day. So for right now, I have my little fix, my little patchwork quilt of exotic and tropical all around me. So this is, I think, why I like these two so much, because I come in here and it's something different, and it's something that makes me feel like I'm going places. So those are my favorites for right now. Last one is from Plant a Garden. What an appropriate name for ending the questions and answers. Plant a Garden asks, "Hi Ray, do you bring your plants from the Voodoo Garden into the other rooms of your house to enjoy them temporarily?" Ooh, no. The Voodoo Garden is a one-way street. Plants come in, but they don't. Plants go out, but they never come back in. So once a plant leaves the Voodoo Garden, it's never allowed back into the Voodoo Garden, and that's for a very, very good reason. The Voodoo Garden is a sterile environment. It doesn't look sterile with all the dirt on the ground and everything, but it's as sterile as I can possibly get it. I do my Voodoo Garden watering and moving around and pointing at things with my hands. Like, I gotta stop that. I watch my videos when I'm editing, and I'm like, ooh. But I do all of my Voodoo Garden stuff first thing in the morning. I get up, take a shower, shave, have my coffee, put on fresh clothes, and so I put on my fresh clothes, I come in here, and he's chasing a cricket. Well, that answers your cricket question. It keeps Rascal happy. I come in here and I do my watering, sniffing around and loving the Voodoo Garden, and then when I'm done, I go out, close the door, and I don't come back in for the rest of the day. That's Rascal hitting your leg over there. Because if I go outside or anywhere else, I might get a spider mite on me, I might get some other kind of thing, an aphid, lupus, who knows, and bring it into the Voodoo Garden and infect my plants, and I would feel horrible if I did that. If I take a plant outside, of course it's never coming back into the house, let alone into the Voodoo Garden. If I take these plants upstairs, that's not a sterile area because I have windows open, things are blowing in and out, and my plants could get sick, and I would hate for that to happen. So no, once I take a plant out of the Voodoo Garden, I don't bring them back in. I do have plants upstairs. I have the spider plants. Remember the ones that were up here? I got tired of them down here, and I wanted to do something different with the shelf, and I took them all upstairs because I was going to throw them out, and I just couldn't do it, so I kind of snuck them upstairs. I have a very teeny tiny house out in the middle of nowhere, so I really don't have the room to put plants all over the house, and I don't have the light to put them all over the house, so it really doesn't work out for me there. So there are your questions answered. By the way, if you have questions that weren't answered, it's not because I don't care about what you want to know. It's just that I probably missed them. That's got to be the reason. I went through my comment section and I thought I got every single one of them. If I missed one, please feel free to post it again and I will get to your question. If you haven't posted a question, please feel free to do one, and I will try to answer your question with the best answer I can possibly pull out of my little head. Now that we're done with that, this is my Dill Atlantic Giant. And I use the word giant with a smile on my face because there's nothing giant about this Dill Atlantic. It just didn't grow well outside, but it was fun to grow. I had a blast with it. And I've had it here in the Voodoo Garden for the last few weeks. Now, what I want to do with this, I mentioned it in the last program, I would like to run a little contest. I haven't run a contest in so long. I think it would be fun, and it's a contest that you gardeners are going to like. What I'm going to do is next episode, actually as soon as I'm done filming this, no actually, I'm going to wait. Next episode, I'm going to take a very sharp object and try not to cut myself. I'm going to cut into this little mini Leviathan and I'm going to pull out the seeds. I'm going to count the seeds and I'm going to get a grand total of seeds in this pumpkin. Now, I would like for any of you who would like to venture a guess on how many seeds are in this pumpkin, I would like for you to post it in the comment section below. Only one guess per customer, please. And if you have a guess, just post a number, okay? Just post the number, like if you guess 12, just 1 and a 2, 12, and put that down there. It's easier for me than reading through all the comments and looking if you're putting a number in there somewhere, so I just go through there. Whoever gets, now I was going to do this to where whoever gets the closest to the actual number of seeds gets a prize. But then I thought, no, I'm going to be a little bit different. Whoever guesses the closest and goes over gets a prize. Whoever guesses closest and is not over gets a prize. So 2 people are going to win. And for right now, I wish I could do this worldwide. It has to be in the United States because I don't know what the shipping charges are going to be. But I want to offer you a prize, and this is what I would like to offer you. This is my compost. This is the stuff that I mentioned that I would like to produce, well, that I am producing, and I made this all with my own two hands, with the sweat of my brow, and there is no shortcut to this. This is the stuff that I use to keep the Voodoo garden looking like it does. This is the stuff right here. What I use, you can use in your indoor gardening if you'd like. This is dried, powderized compost made outside, sterilized to where there's no insects. You don't have to worry about it because, you know me, I don't want any insects here. I think the UPS driver's here. He can just leave the package. But anyway, I would like to offer this to you, and that's what I'm going to do. Whoever comes closest is going to win one of these, and I'm going to mail it to you. So that's the prize, okay? 2 of them are going out, and I'll have them all packaged up. This is... Hold on a second. I hope nobody's knocking at my door. I hate to have them think I'm not home. False alarm. Those are my guard dogs, Tiki and Tanner. Yeah, they were just barking up a storm upstairs, and that usually means somebody's here. Anyway, back to what I was saying. You guessed the amount of seeds. I'm going to send this to you, and I know you're going to enjoy it in your house. This is the stuff. This is the stuff that I'm going to be offering to everybody in about a month or two. And I'm going to be having it for sale, and it's going to not be very expensive at all. It's not going to be very expensive at all, but I would like to offer this as a gift. This is going to be 2 cups worth of compost. Now, what I have instructions on the outside. 2 level tablespoons of this per gallon of water. You just toss it into a container, the stuff, and then add the water, mix it up, let it set overnight, and then you can use it to water your plants every single time you water your plants, or every other time, however you want to do it. I use it about 2 times, and then the 3rd time I water my plant, I use regular water. I use just regular tap water, and that's how it works. It's a maintenance type of thing, okay? And the nice thing about this is it's almost impossible. I don't even know that it's possible to overdose your plants on this, so that's great. And so this is my compost tea, and 2 cups will make 16 gallons. Lord have mercy. Yeah, that's a lot of compost tea. And that's going to be yours for just guessing the amount of seeds in here, because it's just something fun. It's something fun. It's something I want to offer you. Now, those folks that are in Canada, England, everywhere else, I am still doing my research to find out what the shipping cost is going to be for this to other parts of the world, because other people might want to try it. And if their country will allow it in their borders, I don't know what their import thing is, and if shipping costs or something, because I don't make a dime off of the shipping costs. What I'm doing with the shipping costs is the post office gets that. I get a few dollars for this when I'm selling this, and that's literally what I get. I get a few dollars off of each bag that I sell. So it's not a very expensive item. The shipping costs actually way more than the product, but there's nothing I can do about that. Anyway, that's what I'm offering to everybody. So if you want to get involved in it, post your guess in the comment section below. And also, I want to show you something that somebody sent me, and I've been wearing this in the Voodoo garden. Take a look at what's on my chest here. Check it out. Got the shoes, got the hat, got the strange yellow dog fishing pole. Is that me? Is that me or what? Yep, life is good. I love this shirt. I do. I have 2 of them actually, and they make coffee mugs. There's a company that actually makes these things. They make the coffee mugs, the shirts, and everything like that. Mike the dishwasher got me a coffee mug for this, and I thought it was the coolest thing because it says life is good, and just that is my motto. Life is good. It's just every day is a good day for me. At least I try to make it that way, and this shirt really does suit me. So I won't mention any names, but you know who you are. The person that sent this to me, thank you so much. I enjoy it, and I do wear it. Oh, the camera kind of went down a little bit. Oh, well, what can you do? Anyway, thank you for bearing with me for the questions and answers, and I hope you guys are interested in the contest that we have going on here. If you have any questions at all, post in the comment section below. I'm always here for you. Until next time, this is Ray and his lovely little co-host. We are out of here. Oh, he's literally out of here. He's a little impatient. Hey, Rascal, sniff my pumpkin. That's good stuff, huh? Yeah.